Hey kids, this is Mrs. Brown from Amherst Elementary. I am going to show you a different take on a video that I've already done and put on this channel. This is for my students who are taking virtual classes right now, and also for my students in class. We're going to do a line walk, and you do not have to have a big piece of paper. And you don't have to have anything fancy. This is simply copy paper. And I'm folding it in half so that you will be able to see all of it, hopefully. And let's see, turn it about right there. And it's called a line walk because you are taking your pencil and or you could use a marker. We're going to use a pencil in this case for several different reasons. But you're going to take your pencil line on a walk around the page, and you want to try your best not to lift up your pencil. You want to make quite a few shapes. You don't want to make so many shapes that you're taking forever to create your design. But you don't want something where you only have like 3 or 4 or 5 shapes. So you'll see what I mean here. So I'm going to take my line on a walk, and I often say we can pretend we're walking around the neighborhood. Especially in this day and age, it'd be nice to get out. So maybe you and your mom or dad or whoever go on a walk, and you go out your front door and you walk down the street, and you notice I went off the page a little bit there. That's okay. I tried not to pick up my pencil. And you decided that's a dead end street, and you're going to go back over here toward your house and maybe look in your yard and see what's going on, and walk over to your neighbor's yard, and maybe on down the street. Maybe you're going to go up a hill and then down the next road. Notice that I'm touching sometimes to try and make shapes. Like I said, I don't want to make too many, but I don't want to make too few. And so we want our shapes to touch and sometimes overlap like that, so that we will have enough shapes to make it interesting. And the fun thing about this one is you can do it anywhere. You can do it on lined paper. You could do it on really nice paper and then paint it, color it in with markers, color it in with crayons. And I'm going to show you something here, a different way to do it. Let's say that all you have are paper and pencil. That may be all you have. And so this could also be a fancy way of doodling. And I think I'm going to end my line walk there. And you think, oh, well, that's not so exciting. Normally, a lot of times I might color it with a crayon. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about using a pencil and how powerful a pencil can be. And all the different things you can do with it. So, for example, I could come right in here, and maybe I want to draw as dark as I possibly can. And so I am going back and forth. I could go over and over again and again. You know how you'll get it sometimes so dark it's shiny? And so that's what I'm doing here. Getting as solid as possible. Maybe right next to it, I want to get as light as possible. Maybe I want to get barely touch that paper, which is actually a lot harder, I think, than doing it very dark, because you really have to control your hand and control your paper. I like to turn my paper so that I can get to where I want without having to lay my hand on my paper too much. There are other ways to avoid smearing your pencil, and we'll talk about those on another day. But for today, we're just going to talk about how you can get so very dark, very light. You can do patterns. I'm going to go over here, and maybe on this one I'll do sort of a cross-hatching design. So maybe all the way across I'll do like this. And this is not probably a true, is a perfect one, but, and I could, if I was doing more of a cross hatching for shading, I would of course not be quite so precise with my lines, or I could be really precise for this project. So maybe I'm going to go over here, and now I'm going to see if I can do a medium color. This is, I think, a little harder. And the reason I want to do it here is because it's right next to the light one, and I can tell if I am doing a medium color, a medium shade of it. So that's pretty medium, I think. Then I'm going to go over here, and on this one, I am going to color it in by doing little tiny circles. And you probably can't see the texture very well in the picture, but you can see that it's darker than this one, and still lighter than that one. So we still have something going on there. Right here, I am going to do some, we can do patterns in here. Maybe I'm going to do something where I repeat it over and over again. That could be very interesting. And that's just a line now. Maybe on this one, I want to see what happens if I repeat this line over and over. This one here. So now I've just got lines going on here. And if you notice, I do not do very well at doing straight lines. And mine have all kinds of gaps in them. Some closer, some further away. That almost looks like that runs into that. And that's something we could leave that way if we want to. So let's see. I'm going to go over here, and maybe little, as I did over here, I started to color them with little circles, but it was so small. I think with this one, I am going to do like little circles. Sort of like it's almost like I'm doing texture. Some of this could be more of a value. Some of this could be considered texture. Some of this could be pattern. You could actually practice. Let's see if I want to, how would I make something look fluffy? What kind of marks would I make to make something look hard? What kind of marks would I make to make something look soft? People do it all the time using just a pencil, and that's really hard to do. I think I'll do one or two more over here, because I feel like this needs something. And actually, you may think, why are you doing this? But I am actually going to do this as an angle. I don't like these lines just being like that. So I'm going to go back over this. And I know in this case I wasn't doing a whole lot of erasing, but I did erase in there. And it just adds a little something different to it. I'm going to see how, if I can get one of those shades in there. Not quite the light, not quite the dark. Let's see, that's harder to do than you think. And it's easier if you start out really light, then that's easier to do, and you can always get darker. It's kind of that color there. I'm afraid if I go much more, then I'm going to be that shade there. I think I'm just going to leave it there because I want something in between these two. I want to try for that, and I think that's going to be my last one. But you can see how you could fill a whole page. You could also see how you might just do a fourth of a page. That could be real interesting. There's some other types of fun type of doodling that we're going to talk about later on. But this is something you can do very easily with just paper and pencil. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you can come up with some more patterns or textures. Obviously, there's a whole lot more textures if we were just studying texture that you could do. And look forward to seeing you again.